Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I'm actually here in Palm Beach County in Florida. So if you do hear some dogs barking in the background, I do apologize. My father-in-law actually does animal rescue for Palm Beach County. And today I wanted to give you my first impression on the brand new fragrance Bad Boy by Carolina Herrera. So this is a fragrance that I actually purchased about 2 days ago. And so I was on the I was at Newark Airport in New Jersey, and I noticed that they had this one at duty free. They didn't have it at Macy's, they didn't have it at Sephora, but luckily I did find this at Dew Free. And so I knew I had to buy a bottle. I actually didn't pack any other fragrances with me because I had a bit of a family emergency. But here we go. I'm going to be giving you my first impression of this fragrance. So I purchased it. I waited patiently until I landed. I came here to my father-in-law's house, and I'm currently spending the evening with my wife and my daughter. And this is a fragrance that it opens up kind of sweet, and I gotta be honest with you guys, in the opening I was a little bit conflicted. And I say that because in the opening it was very tonka bean heavy. And I'll just go ahead and spray it again. The sprayer for this one, by the way, is amazing. You can actually control how much you want to spray. And it opened up very sort of tonka bean heavy, and I thought to myself, okay, here goes another tonka bean driven scent. And so you think of fragrances like Paco Rabanne's Invictus Legend, maybe even CH for Men Privé, maybe even Versace Eros. You know, there are just so many fragrances that utilize that same accord or that same DNA. It wasn't until I want to say maybe 15-20 minutes later when it became apparent to me that it wasn't entirely the tonka bean at play here contributing to that sweetness. And immediately I was reminded of another fragrance by the company Hugo Boss, and it's called the Scent Private Accord. So for those of you that have been watching my channel, you know that I said that that was like the best release of 2018. I love that fragrance, right next to, of course, Atado Wanted by Night. And the thing about this one and the similarities that I get between this and the Scent Private Accord is that they both have a chocolate note. So they both have this sort of cocoa powder, chocolatey gourmand vibe. And while initially I thought it was mainly the tonka bean at play, when you give this one about 15 to 20 minutes to dry down, there's a slightly powdery nuance that starts to arise in the composition. And there's more of like a fair balance between, you know, the chocolate note and the tonka bean note. Something about it also kind of reminds me of Armani Code Absolute minus that vanilla nuance. And so here's the thing. I thought that this one was, I knew that it was going to be sweet. There's no question. And that's because this is the men's counterpart to Good Girl. So Good Girl is sweet. This one is also going to be sweet. It's sort of like the bad boy, good girl, opposites attract sort of narrative. And the thing with this one though is I knew that there was a number of different ways that you can bring a fragrance into a sweet territory. You can use vanilla, you can use cinnamon, you can use benzoin or labdanum or plum or a fruity accord or whatever else. But they chose tonka bean, and a lot of fragrances, especially the modern, masculine, contemporary, date clubbing sort of fragrances, do utilize that tonka bean note. And so in the opening, I wasn't sure what to feel, but once that chocolate came through and then I started getting a bit of a spicy nuance on account of the pepper, I was like, you know what, okay, I like this one. And I think that this one is slightly different from everything else on the shelf, all the while kind of falling within that same olfactory classification, but slightly different enough that if you're not a fan of some of those other fragrances that I mentioned earlier, you can go ahead and pick this one up in its place. So basically I have the 50 ml. It looks like a Thunderbolt. It's a little quirky and fun, but I do think that it will be remembered in the years to come because of its shape. And of course, we have airplanes flying overhead, so there's always a distraction. Please don't mind me. I really just wanted to get this video out there because I wanted to give you my first impression before I actually settle down and do a full review of this fragrance in about a week to a week and a half's time once I return from the cruise. And like I said, this is the only fragrance that I brought with me on the cruise from Newark Airport, so I'm going to be wearing it diligently for the past 7 days. So it's a nice scent. That's my final verdict. It has a very strong tonka bean opening. It has some rather sweet elements underneath that keep this one very playful and inviting, but there is also an element of sensuality in this one on account of those sweeter notes. And so whenever you think of a sweet fragrance, you're going to be reminded of fragrances that you can wear on a date that sort of give off that attractive and sensual vibe. If you're looking for a date fragrance, this is it. If you're looking for a clubbing fragrance, this is it. If you're looking for a fragrance to wear when the weather gets a little bit colder outside, this is it. But there's also an element of this one that allows it to be worn on a casual basis as well. So Bad Boy by Carolina Herrera. I think it is a really nice tonka bean scent that takes it in the direction of not necessarily all of the other tonka bean fragrances. In the opening, it will be reminiscent of that, but once you give it a chance to settle down, you'll see that it has some other elements in here that make it a bit more unique, and so I can certainly appreciate it for that factor. So thanks again for watching. I hope you have an opportunity to get your nose on this for yourself. If you do, I would love it if you could comment down below and let me know what you think of this fragrance and if you would compare it to anything else. And always allow your nose to be the judge. Don't blind buy. Go out there, try it for yourself. See if you love it. See if it really resonates with you. And let that be the ultimate catalyst as to whether or not you pull the trigger. Thanks again for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. All right? Bye.